Welcome to the Bridge of Two podcast. Welcome to the Bridge of Two podcast. I'm your host, Josh, with
Jeremiah.
And together we are...
Josh and Jeremiah.
Oh, yeah.
Bridge of Two podcast.
We're back for numero cinco, El Podcasto. And tell me what thiamine does, Jeremiah.
I was close. Combines with ATP to form a coenzyme necessary for carbohydrate metabolism.
All right, let's get that thiamine in our bodies.
There we go.
Yeah, by the way, we will be drinking the drink right now because we're tired and this is an energy drink.
It is ZOA, Healthy Warrior Energy Drink.
It's Z-O triangle, actually.
Fair enough. Healthy Warrior.
I saw, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's face selling me this, and I was like, I need
must have
to be a healthy warrior because it says it's for healthy warriors.
ZOA is about healthy, positive energy that helps us all focus, be productive, and get stronger together. Mana, gratitude, ZOA. And then it's signed by Dwayne Johnson.
Told you. He was there.
But there's vitamin B1 in this, which is thiamine, which is a drug that I'm supposed to be learning, so you're welcome, listeners.
And they're on the picture, it looks like I don't want to say something offensive. God,
Please don't. It's like a tiki.
Yeah, like a tiki
symbol.
mask or like Maori like symbol. So Maori.
What's Maori?
Maori is the native people in New Zealand.
Really?
So,
the more you know.
We'll find out.
Or the less you know. It depends.
The less you know, the better.
All right. Mine's zero sugar because I live that zero sugar life.
And mine has 23 grams, including 22 grams of added sugars.
Oh, weird smell to it.
Oh, good. It's the healthy warrior smell. You're drinking a healthy warrior, actually.
It tastes like a green apple lollipop.
Huh.
Mine does.
Mine says it's wild orange, so I hope it tastes like a wild orange. Smells like it smells like
more of a domestic orange.
No, yeah, no, it smells like chewable vitamin C tablets. Actually,
that's what it tastes like. It tastes like not even a chewable. It tastes like the pill vitamins that you would get.
Let's see how it tastes.
That's what it tastes like. Mine tastes or smells like.
It tastes better than it smells.
It's not horrible. If it was cold, we're kind of drinking these slightly warm because,
they're like tired. They're above, slightly cooler than room temperature, I'd say.
I feel like if it was really cold, it'd actually be really good. I mean, I think it's good. If it was cold, it'd be a lot better.
I think a healthy warrior tastes good.
Where'd you get this from? CVS?
Yeah.
I might have to swing by tomorrow and get one.
There was some kind of sale, which they were still over $3 a piece.
Oh my goodness! I mean, that's energy.
But it was on sale. So
I'll have to see if they have any
means I saved money. All right. Welcome to the Bridge of Two podcast. We had that segment pretty early on. Hope that you enjoyed it.
Give it a try. If they are in your area, I don't know.
Yeah, support Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He needs all the help.
Not that you need to support him, but do it. Sure. I mean, he's like a nice guy,
Oh, yeah.
Making energy drinks and stuff. Seems like everybody...
Smelling what The Rock is cooking.
Everybody in this day and age is making energy drinks at this point.
I could definitely devolve into talking about Shaq soda right now, but I won't.
Oh, shit. I don't even know what it is. I'm not going to ask because you're gonna go too far into it.
I need to try to get Shaq soda, and we need to try to drink. I need to see if there's any unopened cans that still exist in the world.
Shaq soda. I'm down if you can get it. I have an idea of what it might be.
I'll just say it was distributed by the Arizona Tea Company. They were cans with Shaq's face going like tongue out, crazy Shaq face. They were cream sodas. So there's orange and cream, blueberry cream. The blueberry cream was amazing. There was vanilla, just like straight up vanilla. And then there was one more. I think strawberry cream. They were amazing, and I would drink them all the time when I was doing lawn maintenance work.
I do know these, yeah. I never had one because it was made by Arizona and I don't like tea.
Yeah, and they like the ingredients on them were really chill.
Dude, perfect. Extremely rare, unopened Arizona Shack soda set of 4.
How much is it?
For $1,500.
Well, you know what?
It's worth it for the podcast.
It's worth it for the podcast. I know that will bring in that sweet podcast money.
All that podcast money that we're definitely making.
With our slightly less than 1,000 listeners.
Available.
What? The $1,500 Shack soda is currently unavailable?
No, just the
It never should have.
Berry cream on Amazon.
It never should have stopped existing. Is all I have to say. I'm very upset. Yeah, so let's get into just talking about what we've been up to this week on the Bridge of Two podcast. What have you done this week with your life?
Actually more than I should have.
Good.
I have been lazy and not been studying. I've been playing video games and stuff instead.
Which ones?
Patch 5 for Baldur's Gate 3 early access came out. So I played that a little bit because I have the early access. I've had it for a while. Back when I was on night shift, I would play it a lot when I was on night shift when I had to stay awake for work or when I wasn't working.
That's nice.
So I played a little bit of that. Played a little bit more SWTOR, Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Did they have their anniversary yet?
No, I think it's in November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a ways away. But they're coming out with a new expansion. They're like revamping, like redoing a lot, like something with their class system. It seems interesting. I don't know. I'm hyped for it. I read a little bit more. I think
Rhythm
of War. I think I read more. I can't. My weeks are getting mixed up right now.
Better have read more.
What else did I do? A little bit more drawing as usual. Divinity. I played a little bit of Divinity Original Sin 2 as well.
Okay,
so I have that on the Switch.
So all the D&D.
Yeah, inspired games.
Inspired games.
It's a little bit more. Well, Divinity Original Sin 2 is a little bit. I have it on the Switch, and so it's a little bit more portable for me.
Okay.
So I can sit on the couch when my wife is watching something, or if we're watching something together, and I can completely ignore the show. No, I don't. I don't do that, honey. I promise. And I started playing Knights of the Republic again because I actually have it on my phone.
The first one,
Knights of the Republic. So I play it at work occasionally.
Terrible.
So a lot of video games, intermittent throughout the days. Not Oh, bad news. Sort of off topic, but bad news.
What?
My dad copped out on Oathbringer. Made it to page 700, around 700.
Whoa. He gave up?
He gave up, said he can't do it. I don't know why, but he just said he couldn't do it. He was on page 700. He was like there.
What happens on page 700?
I don't know, but he said he was not in that area. But he just said he got to the point where like he's just all the characters are annoying him and blah 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 blah.
I wonder if it's Kaladin.
It might be Kaladin. I don't know. So I was a little upset.
Gotta trust Brandon. Trust Brandon Sanderson. He will deliver. He always delivers. Except, there is kind of Kaladin's character at the end of that book. There's some stuff definitely some big stuff unresolved for him. But he also has some really good, really great, end of book. He has some character stuff resolved in that book. I
like the ending of. I like his how his story concludes in that book. I won't spoil it, but I like that he. I like what happened. What happens?
Yeah, I mean,
it's subverted expectations for most fantasy novels, And
definitely.
So I appreciated that. But yeah, so
that's disappointing. We'll have to get him on it.
Yeah,
somehow.
I've been listening. I'm pretty much caught up on my D&D, the Not Another D&D podcast.
Okay.
That campaign's ramping up. They're coming to an end of the second one. It's a little bit shorter.
Yeah,
and it's good. It's a good story.
Good.
I like the setting. The setting they're in is super interesting. And then obviously listen to a little bit more of the second book of Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
With Galactic Outlaw. Is that what it's called? I think.
Yeah, it is. How far are you into it?
Chapter 8 or 9.
Okay.
I like it. Have you listened to it at all?
I'm on chapter 2. So I did get.
Do you know
into it?
Who have you met so far?
I was listening to it at work, so I can't remember all the names, and it's been a few days. But there's a guy who.
Have you met Captain Keel yet?
I think
think that's his name.
I don't think so. Is he? Not. He's not a rebel, but he's Not a part of the Republic. I think chapter 1 you're with Wraith.
Yes, chapter 1 is like the epilogue.
Oh, the
There's
beginning,
the epilogue where it's
not
like
epilogue, but like a prologue.
like
sort of?
I mean not epilogue, yeah, prologue.
Yeah.
Gosh, I swear I read books.
Right. Oh, yeah. It starts like not long after the end of the.
It kind of shows you who a little bit to an extent of who survived. Like at that point,
Right. Wraith survived, and then it says like 7 years later.
Yeah, and you should. I think it starts with Prim. Is that her name?
There's a girl.
I'm having a hard time remembering the name.
Yeah, there's a girl with a robot that. Right. That's like trying to, basically tell her not to do what she's doing. She's looking for an assassin.
Bounty hunter.
Yep. So that's kind of where I'm at. There was also a guy that she was talking to that she's trying to get to give her transport or something.
Yeah, I think it's just how she got to the planet to find the guy.
So that's about as far as I got.
Let me know when you meet Captain Keel.
They did mention something about Rex.
Tyrus
Rex, who I guess he was that general in the epilogue, right?
I don't know. You'll have to find out.
Technically, I should already know because I've read it. So I'm pretty sure there was a General Rex in the epilogue, and then they were talking about a Rex that's like a high value target wanted by the
Republic.
The Republic Legionnaires. So sort of sounds like Rex might have gone rogue.
I think the next two chapters.
That's the one she's looking for. She's looking for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The next two chapters will completely change from her and that little story to another completely different set of characters for a minute. I just want to hear your thoughts on him, as well as like some things that are going, because things, without going into spoilers, things in the Republic have changed, and they go
7 years,
and they go into it a little bit. Like even the Legionnaires have changed, and they go into it a little bit. So I'll be interested to hear what you say by the end of the book, because I'll say Captain Keel is one of my favorite characters. He's a very Han. When you meet him, you'll know what I'm talking about. He's a very Han Solo. I mean, he's a smuggler in the story, basically. But he's very Han Solo, but he's also like he's super cocky as well.
So is he mid-core rebellion?
Mm-mm. He's just a smuggler.
Okay.
He just does his own thing.
Smuggler.
But I'm doing, for people who can't see because it's a podcast, I'm doing a lot of hand movements.
He's waving his hands in the air. Very.
Just wait. You're gonna start catching on to like different threads, and you'll be like, what?
Okay.
What? So I've been listening to that as well. But
nice.
Other than that, that's about it for me. Not focusing on one thing. I think once my semester 1 is finishing, not this week, but I think next week, the 6th of August is my last day of my first semester.
Nice.
And I get like a 2-week break in between semesters.
2 whole weeks.
I think during that 2 weeks, I'm gonna like try and blast out Rhythm of War.
You should,
to get it done with, because right now I'm.
You really.
I just want to get it done with,
especially considering what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, exactly. Just doing research.
I'm going to dance around some of that because.
Well, just doing research into it made me want to start reading it. Like,
yeah.
I almost just.
I think
studying read
the today, Rhythm of War pushes a lot of stuff forward as far as like Cosmere lore.
I've already noticed from just like where I'm at now, and
right. There's a lot of epigraphs and stuff to talk about.
The whole story with the whole little conversation between Kaladin and Zahel.
Oh right,
was a big one.
Yeah.
Right. I just realized, where is Zahel during the whole Erythro thing?
I don't remember.
Huh. That just occurred to me. Anyway.
Well, as far as me, I don't really know if I have a lot. I mean, like we talked about. I did read a little bit of the next Legionnaire book as well, and I mean, I definitely played some more Kingdom Hearts, just playing end game stuff. Really, though,
enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. There's like these on all the worlds that you go to. You can go back to all the worlds. There's these. I forget what they're called, like battle portals or something like that, and they're basically just really hard encounters that you play, and whenever you and they're pretty fun and challenging battles. It reminds me a lot of. I went back to Olympus Coliseum because I was like, I only went to that. I went to that world. It's at the beginning of the game, and I didn't go back at all. And so I went back there and was like exploring around, and I found a couple. And so playing those kind of reminded me of the old Olympus Coliseum world where you would just fight wave after wave.
So is it just like waves of enemies that you're playing, or is it like boss battles?
It's both. There's like one. There's one that you do that's down on. I don't remember what it's called, but in the it's called Realm of the Gods is the part of the Olympus Coliseum world, and it's basically on Mount Olympus, and there's 2 of those in there. There's one all the way up to where Zeus is, and that one is like a boss battle. There's like these 2 huge, and I think you fought those. Whatever. They have these huge shields. They're really big. They can take their shields and like put them over their faces, and then be completely, then you have to like knock down their armor to actually start injuring them again. I think you fight them in the main story. I think you fight them on the Big Hero 6 world, San Francisco. But that's where I was feeling like I had fought them before. But there was like 2 or 3 of them, I think, and it was pretty hard. That was fun playing through a couple of those big fights, and you get synthesis items at the end of those fights, and like another like trinket, something that you can use for like armor or something. And I was reading about how you unlock the Ultima Keyblade. It's like the most powerful Keyblade in the game. Is you have to unlock find every synthesis item that if you find them all, then, which I think that's what it was like in the other games too, pretty much.
Kingdom Hearts 1 was,
or you had to synthesize.
It was honestly, you had to synthesize every item that you could, and then it opened up the ability to synthesize.
Right. You had to make everything that was on the list.
I've done it once, and that was the most recent playthrough because I was committed.
Wow.
It took a while. It was fun. I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I usually would throw it, like when I was doing all the grinding, I would throw on a podcast and play, so it was enjoyable. But yeah, it takes a while. I never got it for Kingdom Hearts 2. Or I only got it for Kingdom Hearts 1, so far.
It's the DLC, there's like an end game with the DLC that's basically a bunch of boss battles that if you beat them all, then you unlock 2 more boss battles, and there's like some secret end game stuff for that.
The boss battles.
But they're really hard. I've played a few of them. I mean, there are bosses that you fought in the main game. They weren't that hard when you fought them, as they are now. Like they really upped the moves that they can do. I don't know if that was because people were talking about how easy some of those fights were, but it's super hard. So I could see like getting the Ultima weapon, because that also, with the way the form changes work, if you have the Ultima weapon, there's a final form change that would be really powerful as well. So I can see how that would be really important to get through those boss fights. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to finish that part of it with all the boss fights, because it's
commit.
I'd have to watch a walkthrough. I'd have to watch someone's strategy and see.
Nah, dude, do it yourself. You can do it. Commit. I have faith in you. I have faith in you.
Anyway, but so that's fun. It's been fun, but beyond that, okay, I just have one thing I have to say real quick. I have to ask. It's just totally off topic.
Go for it. Going off the rails already, guys.
Have you ever watched the Flash TV show?
Yeah, with the Grant Gustin's his name.
That's his name, yeah.
Can't believe I remember.
How much of it did you watch?
I watched to season 2 or 3.
Okay.
I jumped off that around the same time I jumped off watching The Arrow.
So those first few seasons were definitely pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in a while, and for like a couple seasons at least, maybe 3 seasons, and but I still follow it on Facebook.
Is it still going?
Oh yeah, it's still going. I still follow it on Facebook, and so I'll see like episode trailers every once in a while, and I have no context because I've been watching it for years.
Yeah.
And so Facebook, shows me a clip from this most recent episode. I think it was a season finale. Maybe the series finale. I don't know. I don't know if they're wrapping it up yet or not. But there's a speedster in an all-white costume, which I know from the comics that character's name is Godspeed. And Barry's fighting him. The Flash is fighting him, and Thawne is fighting him. The yellow speedster, the one who killed his mother.
The Reverse Flash.
I'm pretty sure they changed some stuff with the timeline, because I've seen like screenshots where his mom's alive too. And
well, that's
Anyway.
Yeah, the Flash is one of those things where like the timeline's always messed up when the Flash is involved.
So it cuts to they're fighting and they're literally using lightning. Looks like lightning lightsabers.
Okay, hold on.
And I was like, what? They're holding lightning and they're like hitting it against it. The other lightning sword, like it's a solid thing, and I just wasn't sure how to feel about it. My initial reaction was, okay, yep, you're doing lightsabers, you're totally ripping off Star Wars. And then I was thinking about it, I was like, well, does that mean it's not cool just because it looks like it reminds me of a lightsaber? So I was thinking, I will ask Jeremiah what he thinks.
I want to find this now.
Well, maybe we could find it and take a break.
Yes, we can take a break and find it.
Because so the main topic we want to talk about is basically Brandon Sanderson's.
We can get into the Cosmere a little bit with you guys.
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson's connected universe called the Cosmere. We want to kind of dip you into the lore of the Cosmere, what it is, how it originated, sort of the high level story that's happening throughout every single
the absolute book. Brilliance of Brandon Sanderson.
There you go. The thing that he hopes, if he can stay diligent as he is, he has such a tight schedule he has to keep on writing to be able to publish all the books he wants to publish in the Cosmere before he dies.
Dead. Yeah.
Like that's how
that man better stay healthy.
Yeah. Anyway, we can talk about more, but so how about we take a break? We'll maybe
real quick before we take a break. Going on the other side, I thought about this for some reason. There is a new game out, or it's in closed beta right now, but it's about to come out. It's called New World. Have you heard of it?
Your brother said something about the beta, and I was like, "What is this?" And I didn't. I have seen I've seen art for it. I don't know where I've seen it, but I was like, "What is it?" I don't really know what it is.
I did ask Josh. He said the closed beta. He said his computer is kind of like a potato, so he's having a hard time playing it. But he says it's fun. But I was watching like trailer stuff on it. It looks good. It's an MMO, like MMO action RPG. It looks like a game I could get lost in, which is why I'm probably not going to get it. But
right.
It looks super cool, and I've been like debating even pre-ordering now to get that closed beta. But I think it comes out in August something. So,
but is it so? It says New World, and the thing the art I saw looked like a Spanish conquistador like style helmet. So is it historical?
Mm-mm. It's a full fantasy.
Really?
But they have like muskets in it, looked like, and then spears, axes, swords. They have a bunch of different weapons, and how your class. Because usually in online games you have like a class like warrior, rogue, or whatever. How this works out, it's not like your class, it's your weapon. And your weapon determines what skills you have. And you can try out every single weapon in the game and have the different skills, find what works best for you, then progress to get better of that type of weapon. I think there's like swords, bows. I think there's muskets. I think I saw this somewhere. Like double or great axes, spears, and some like a magic gauntlet or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. It seems like there's concept very craft oriented, where there's a lot of crafting and getting materials to craft and stuff like that. It's one of those games where people can literally like live in. Like people don't you don't even have to fight. You can literally just be a farmer in the game, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know why you would ever do that, but no, I'm just joking. I don't know. I've been watching videos on it recently. It looks really cool, and I thought about that when we were talking about video games. So
check out New World.
Give it a look.
Play it and tell us if it's good. And let us live through you.
Yes.
All right.
Let me know if I should waste my life on it. I won't, honey. Again.
Again. All right. Well, we will be back in a minute, and we'll see you then. We're back.
Are we back?
We're back.
That was insane.
And we have more thoughts.
So Josh just showed me the video, and I pulled it up on the TV and we watched it, of legitimately the Flash and I guess Godspeed and Reverse Flash making lightsabers out of lightning somehow, and just being beasts at sword fighting now.
Immediately. Which, I mean, in some fairness, we clearly haven't watched any of this season. And this is season 7. I think I've watched it in like 3 or 4 years. But it is, well, the clip opened up with Godspeed, the white speedster, just doing force lightning on Barry. Like
straight up.
Not like there's earlier in the show, Barry figures out how to like build up charge in himself, and then he can throw like a bolt of lightning. But this is literally
force lightning.
Him just putting his hand, Godspeed putting his hand out, and lightning shooting out of his fingertips.
He's going full limited power on him.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it like was built up in the season, and I don't. But like just watching this is just like just do yourself a favor and go watch it because it is absolutely bonkers.
Just we're gonna just no context, totally reflect on this video because
I don't even think you need context. It's just that's bonkers. It is literally
they literally they watch him. He like Godspeed puts his hand up and lightning flows into his hand, and then he just boom ignites a lightning bolt in his hand, and then he spins it like a lightsaber, and then
it's just a sword that's lightning.
And then Barry and Reverse Flash, who are fighting together on at the same team, look at him and are like, whoa, that's crazy. This is the way they look. And then they just decide to do the same thing.
A second later, they do the same thing, but differently. They don't take lightning from the sky. They take it from their bodies.
Yeah, it comes out of their bodies.
Literally, it's like they're igniting a lightsaber. Like, zoom, they even shoot their arm out like that. Mm-hmm. It's just like, what?
Which, once again, I'm sure there's some kind of science-y, Speed Force-y explanation that they've probably brought up in the show.
Absolutely not. There's no way.
It looks really, really weird. Looks really Star Wars-y, like in a bad way. So, and there's no Cisco on the show anymore to nerd out and just break the fourth wall and say, oh yeah, well, we're doing Star Wars now. So I don't know. Anyway, so there you go.
That was insane.
Check it out, everyone. Let us know what your thoughts are.
Please do, and send us your thoughts. My brain is still reeling from watching that.
I'm glad I brought it up because
I'm glad you brought it up too. That's insane.
It's like I need to talk to someone about this.
Real quick plug. You know you should watch, Josh, if you haven't yet.
What?
Stargate SG-1.
Oh, you've told me that before.
Good show. I don't know. The only reason I thought about it is because like in this episode, you
Are
can
there
really
lightning lightsabers?
Well, no, but you can really see in this show that like they did lightning lightsabers because they're running out of things to talk to tell in their show. The last season of SG-1 is like that.
Okay.
They start running out of... there's literally an episode where they're stuck on a spaceship and they grow really old. That is the episode. And then they somehow aren't old anymore, but you can tell they're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
So I don't know why my brain connected that thought, but
I mean,
give SG-1 a watch. It's actually
SG-1's
10 seasons long. Good show.
Yeah. Cool.
So give it a watch.
Right on.
Everybody else as well.
Right. So we have looked into and dug into the depths
of the abyss.
We have stared into the abyss, and the abyss has stared back of the Cosmere. So
sometimes it feels like that.
We'll talk about staring into the abyss and the abyss staring back. Brandon Sanderson is in his 40s now. Gosh. And he's at the point he mapped this out. From what I remember from interviews and stuff I've listened to of him, around the time Mistborn was being published, the first trilogy, probably after the first book, or maybe around, like when he had this idea when he was writing Mistborn, and he mapped it out. He mapped out all the planets and what planets would be involved and kind of general stories and stuff like that. And it was at the time, I think it was gonna be like 20 something books or 30 something books, something like that. And he literally, just said, this is what I'm going to do, and started doing it. And now he's at the point where he's literally pretty much can't, there's stuff he can't write.
Yeah,
there's stuff that he can't be like, I'm going to take a break from the Cosmere and do this one thing that I've always wanted. There's books that he may have ideas for that it's like, someday I'll write that book. He can't do that right now anymore if he wants to actually get the whole Cosmere published. So it's pretty crazy.
It's a good thing that he likes it, the Cosmere, though. I mean, it's not like he's being forced to writing. It's good for me too, but it's not like, it doesn't seem like it's something he's forced to write. Like he came up with the Cosmere. He likes he likes that. I think he's enjoying himself.
Oh yeah, I think so too. And he still do like little novellas, and
he's still doing non-Cosmere stuff too.
Yeah, he still does non-Cosmere. He just has to stay on a really tight.
What was that? What was the one, the young adult book he just did?
I did the Skyward. I think it's the
second one.
Second one. Yeah, I forget what it is. But it's kind of a sci-fi book. It's about a girl it's like a futuristic fighter pilot kind of novel series, and yeah, it's sci-fi, and it's young adult, and Spensa's the main character. Anyway, so he still does stuff doing that, and he'll still do smaller projects in between. But
oh wait, no, Skyward is the first book. Starsight's the second.
Starsight's the second one, and then I think the last one's called Nowhere.
Cytonic.
Oh, Nowhere is what he wanted to call it,
which sounds really cool.
Yeah. So, writers, a lot of times, they have like a story kind of pops into your brain, and you start thinking about it and working on it, and then you're like, I got to get this down on paper. I got to work this out and get this story kind of written. And it's like Brandon Sanderson's done that, only it's the Cosmere. Like literally, that's the story he wants to tell is like 40 books long.
It's so
he's
crazy.
like, I have to get this 40 book long story out of me.
Yeah, for real. It's so crazy. He's a genius how he's doing it too is such a genius idea. Because a little backstory, like I was just watching a video today from Brandon Sanderson, kind of the thought of the Cosmere was he used to read books as a kid, a bunch of fantasy books, a bunch of different books. And how he stated was almost to kind of put himself into the book or give his own little self to the book was he would basically imagine like some weird character, some like absolutely obscure character or side character. He'd be like, oh, that's character. Then he'd read a book from a completely different author and be like, that's the same character. And they're linked. And he'd start making like a backstory. And that is the backstory basically for Hoyd.
Yep.
And so then he kind of started branching the idea of like, well, what if these worlds are actually like, what if I make these different worlds that are connected? And so he's telling this overarching epic story, but the way he's doing it is such an ingenious idea to where like Elantris is a standalone novel on its own. You can read Elantris, which is his first book published, and that's Cosmere. You can read that and not read any other of his books, and you'd have a full story right there.
Right. It has
same with Mistborn. The Mistborn trilogy is a full trilogy. It has a beginning and an end. And you can stop right there and not read any of the other Cosmere as a story. But if you kept going reading the other stuff, you would start seeing an overarching narrative going on. Other characters that are from different books and appearing in other books.
Right.
And eventually, I think his plan is to eventually have it all accumulate into an ending, to really bring the Cosmere to an end.
Right.
It is just such a genius way to do it because that's how you get people in. That's how you can. Because he's right. He said this. I think he said this in the video I was watching. He was like, it would be hard to get someone to invest in a really large series. So like a series,
like
that's
a reader or a publisher.
A reader.
Okay.
Well, look at my dad. I think part of the reason my dad is doesn't want to finish opening is because it's a commitment. That's a 10-book series. It's a commitment. Yeah. So instead, Brandon's like, well, if I can get them to read Elantris first, and that's just a standalone, well, then maybe they get invested, they want to read more, or they just can stand there. It's like, I don't know, his thought, it just seems like his thought process is like, I just want to tell cool stories, and I want people to read them, but I don't want them to be put off, and if they want to keep reading them, go for it, and if not, we'll see.
Yeah, but so this talk will be kind of 50,000 feet view of what's actually going on behind the scenes in a lot of the books. And so you don't get, if you pick up and you read Elantris, or you pick up and read Mistborn or Stormlight Archive, it's not going to start off in the beginning.
Was ad nauseam.
Was, this force of creation or person ad nauseam, and he was split into 16 shards and all this stuff. It's not going to say that. It's stuff that's like Jeremiah said, it's sprinkled throughout different books to kind of leave breadcrumbs for people that are kind of know that the books are connected, know the worlds are connected, know that it's going somewhere bigger. Mm-hmm. And it's doing all this little foreshadowing stuff along the way to build into as it branches out closer, as they connect more and more, because the technology on those worlds, is with, some magical technological innovations and things like that, but it's very medieval. It's not
very fantasy.
They're very tied to their own world, with the exception of these other portals into other realms that they can kind of hop into through other worlds through other means. But there's no like spaceships. There's no yet. But that's where it's going to go. So all these series eventually are going to grow up into a space age, and the Cosmere is going to get a lot smaller. In the sense,
I think that's kind of like Mistborn. That's kind of where Mistborn's being loved. I'm pretty sure Mistborn is almost kind of like Brandon's backbone of the Cosmere. That's how he's going to connect everything. Is using Mistborn, because you see he's already gone to Era 2 of Mistborn. He's going to do an Era 3 and possibly an Era 4. I can't remember. But they're going to have... I think that's where we're going to be introduced to space travel is through Mistborn. And it's going to be not... I really don't think it's going to be generic space travel. Like we see it. I think it's going to be a more fantastical, magical space travel.
I think so too.
And that's how you're going to start branching the worlds, other than the world hoppers that we do already know and have seen.
But yeah, so... to kind of go to the origins of the Cosmere in universe, you find out through various characters that have more information or discover more information that there was something called ad nauseam. There's differences on people aren't sure if ad nauseam was a person or just like a force,
or like an entity, or
I was like. But basically, it was they've described it ad nauseum as the force that created like life, and it was a central power.
Actually, really, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't. A lot of the stuff at the beginning, as far as like the Shattering goes, I think is told to us by Brandon himself. I don't think it's actually written in many of the books. I think, as far as I remember, and obviously my memory could be very off on this, but I think the only time ad nauseum is really mentioned is Mistborn.
There's like, I think in the Mistborn Secret History or Secret, there's like some stuff in some of the novellas in the Arcanum Unbounded, the short stories that go into more depth.
But even then, it's not even like that. I mean, you kind of hear of like maybe a Shattering, or like I know Rhythm of War, their epigraphs, or not Rhythm of War, the whole Stormlight stories, their epigraphs. Some of them are a little bit more. They talk a little bit more about possibly the Shattering, stuff like that, but I do know that Brandon has like confirmed a lot. I mean, confirmed to an extent of like
you said, Mistborn. Here's a quote. I have delved and searched and have only been able to come up with a single name, ad nauseam. Who or what it was, I do not yet know. That was from Hero of Ages.
Yeah, that's the first only time I remember hearing ad nauseam. I don't know if it's mentioned other.
So I think a lot of it comes from the what are called the epigraphs, which are at the beginning of each chapter. There'll be some quote, and it'll be a quote from a character in the world of the Cosmere that may not directly relate to the events happening in that chapter, but it relates to the Cosmere at large, and kind of it's that breadcrumb.
Stormlight does it a lot.
Stormlight does it. Mistborn does it.
But Mistborn I think tends to have a little bit more to do with the actual story of Mistborn. Whereas Stormlight, a lot of the epigraphs, a lot of them don't really have much. Some of them don't have much to do with the story, but they do have to do with the Cosmere.
Yeah,
and I think that's because Stormlight's going to be another one of those big backbone.
Well, so apparently there was before there's ad nauseam, okay, and at some point there were 16 people, maybe more than 16 because Hoyd was there as well and he didn't take a shard, but there was 16 people that conspired or were present or somehow involved in what caused this mysterious force from which all magic is derived, this mysterious force shattering into 16 pieces.
I think not just all magic, I think all creation. Isn't ad nauseam pretty much all creation, or is it all magic?
Responsible, it's ad nauseam generally regarded as a god responsible for the creation of the Cosmere.
Yeah.
Sometimes referred to as the power of creation. So there was a pivotal moment in history, event known as the Shattering, and there was these 16 people, and whenever ad nauseam shattered, it shattered into 16 shards that were based on certain aspects of this, god or force or entity. So there was a shard of odium, which the shard of odium is kind of like passion or hatred. There's a shard of preservation. There's a shard of ruin. There's a shard of cultivation.
Honor.
There's a shard of there's a shard of mercy. There's a shard. There's some other Rhythm of War. There was a lot of names of the shards weren't fully known, and Rhythm of War named a bunch more.
And the thing about these
two, I think there's only two left we don't know the name of.
Yeah, and so kind of what happened is, however it happened, I think we're all right now led to believe that these people came together and for some reason defeated, what they call it the shattering, shattered ad nauseum into these 16 shards. We do note from context clues that Hoyd was present, but he does not hold a shard.
Yeah.
Hoyd, if you guys don't know, just a little whatever, we'll probably go into him a little bit more in another episode. Possibly our Bridge of Theories episode. Hoyd is like a character that he is, if you want to know a character that's in every single book of the Cosmere, it's Hoyd. And he might not always be named Hoyd. Like, he's named Wit and Stormlight a lot of it. He's Hoyd and others. He's got a couple of different names.
He has different names, and I think there's some. Yeah, I think there's some books he appears in that he has a different name, or maybe he's not even named.
Yeah, sometimes he's just
I think he's mentioned. In Elantris, but I don't think he's named Hoyd.
He is named, but not Hoyd. I don't remember what his name is in it. Same with, I think, Nalthus, or not Nalthus, Warbreaker. That's World's Nalthus. Okay. He's got a different name too. But you can usually spot him because he's usually doing something. He's usually a storyteller,
right?
And he's usually doing something weird.
He's basically if Gandalf was a bard.
Basically,
I mean,
yeah.
I was thinking about that today because he's just to be maybe an example for people who don't know much about this and trying to track with us. You know, Gandalf in like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, he was sent to help push back against the forces of evil, and the way he did that was through trying to be influential, trying to give people, push people in the right direction, try to he had to kindle the hearts of people with courage and hope and things like that. And I think especially Hoyd in like Stormlight Archive, he does that a lot, like in just about every single episode in every single book. In every single book of the Stormlight Archive, he has some story he tells someone to really like encourage them or give them some kind of something to think about that'll push them in the right direction. And yet he's not.
No one really knows his true motives either.
Right. Well, yeah, right. That's the thing about him. The difference between him and Gandalf. Gandalf was sent by the god of that world, that series, but Hoyd has his own motives and his own reasons.
No one knows what it is. No one knows. We just know. We've just learned through the different hints dropped that he was there during the Shattering. Right. He is a very old person, very powerful person,
right?
Very knowledgeable person. But there really still isn't even that much known about Hoyd.
Right. So, yeah.
But anyway, so we know that he was present. So we don't know exactly how many. We know at least the 16 plus Hoyd were present during the Shattering.
At the least, yeah.
At the least. And that these 16 people picked up or formed or bonded with these shards and basically became that. It's hard to explain how the shards work, but the essence of that shard.
Yeah, what I was reading is there's like an intent. Each shard has an intent. And so when you become the vessel that's the word I was like, when you become the vessel of that shard, you start to take on the intent of that shard. And so, I think it was Hoyd in one of the letters he was writing to people within the Cosmere. He's concerned about odium. So that's one thing. Even though we don't know his entire motives, we know that he doesn't like odium, who is the shard of hatred, who has decided that he wants to be the only shard, and he starts killing and shattering other people that are holding shards.
Yeah.
But so Hoyd doesn't like odium, and he's using the example of this other person who took up the shard of ruin. He said this person was very kind and like not, a good person, and over time, the shard of ruin, they became a person that could only destroy.
Yeah, and mind
you, only interested in destroying.
When the Shattering happened, I mean, as far as we know, the Shattering happened like generations ago, like thousands of years. Right. So these people have been the vessels of these shards for a while, and that ultimately is going to have, when you have that intent inside of it, it's gonna change you.
Yeah.
So
that you have those shards, the people that become the vessels of those shards basically come to some type of almost like godhood. They're not omniscient and omni-powerful, but their capacity for knowledge, their capacity for the power that they have and all that is so far above what a normal mortal can do, that they are in essence, like a deity.
Yes.
And they made some kind of compact and agreement that they would go their separate ways, and that they would take up residence on planets and just influence those planets and kind of let those planets be their, little petri dishes or whatever they wanted to do with those planets, and that they wouldn't meddle with each other's planets. And
of course that didn't work out.
Yeah, then you have 2 shards that end up on a planet called Cell.
2 shards ended up on Scadrial.
2 shards end up on Scadrial.
3 that's in the Rosharan system,
including Odium. Yeah, so two there, and so Odium is this character that, not long after he takes up that shard, he immediately starts chasing after this other shard named Ambition, Shard of Ambition, because he was concerned that the Shard of Ambition would be his main competition for what his goals were, because ambition. And so in pursuing ambition, runs across this planet Cell and sees, oh, there's 2 shards here. There shouldn't be 2 shards here. So I'm going to shatter them. And so no one knows, as one does. And no one knows exactly how he's able to do it without damaging himself. And maybe he does damage himself in the process, and then he, I think he had some run-ins with another shard. I don't know if it was Ambition. If he did catch up with Ambition,
I can't remember.
But anyway, so that is kind of the
run. That's what kind of where it seems like it's going to. The main overarching story of the Cosmere is going to deal with Odium and him with dealing with. I mean, that's the main focus of Stormlight, really.
Right, because at the point that you find Odium in Stormlight, he is bound to that system. He's bound to that planet, or there's a planet like a moon that's right next to Roshar, where Stormlight Archive takes place, called Braze, and he's bound there along with his servants. And somehow he's made, because there's something about these shards that if they make some kind of contract, or like if they make some kind of oath or pact, they have to honor it, or it will like severely wound them or something like that. So, so he somehow honor, the Shard of Honor was able to lock him down in that system. Mm-hmm. That's where the other shards are hoping he'll stay.
And another sort of like a really important part of the shards and the different worlds they're on is they are what drives the magic system of said world, of the different worlds. Each world has their different magic system. Scadrial does a lot with metals. Nalthus, the world for Warbreaker, deals with like colors and awakening and stuff like that. Roshar is the Stormlight. Each shard and how they it's called investiture, how they invested that world depends on how the magic system actually works.
Yeah.
And that it's super interesting, especially seeing the different. And it's interesting too because you obviously see different people from different worlds who are used to a certain magic system, but now they're trying, world hopping to a different world and using that same magic system in that world. Mm-hmm. And so think of like, well, if it's a different type of investiture, how is that working? I'm sure Brandon's got some weird science behind it, and it's just it's always a bunch of interesting things to think about. Like there's definitely characters even in Stormlight that are using magic from a different world. Yeah. If you've read that book and you've seen that world, and you know who I'm talking about, and you know what magic he's using.
Hoyd uses. I read that Hoyd used on Shallan's father used soothing on him.
I believe it. There's a theory that he uses what's it called?
Breaths.
Yes and no.
No.
Maybe he might have used breaths. I don't. No, it's from the comic book, the White Sand comic book.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't remember. I saw a theory that what he's doing there is he's using because that world does all with like sand.
Right.
He's actually, when he does his storytelling with the sand, he's actually using that magic system.
Right.
But I don't know for certain. He could also be using, because he uses like, he does it like a little storytelling in Warbreaker. that uses a lot of sand, but he may also just very well maybe using Stormlight. Although he wasn't a Radiant at that point, so maybe not. But yeah, so it just, but there's even other characters that you see that are using that and can use that in Vestiger and stuff like that in different worlds.
Yeah.
Not to mention.
Well, and that's a kind of a background, like a story that with the World Hoppers, because there's more than just Hoyd that does World Hoppers.
Yeah, there's a few.
There's like a few organizations and things, and
we won't go into spoilers as to who. That's up to you to figure out as you read.
But there's a question of what their motives are, what they're trying to achieve. So it's not just so Hoyd has his designs of what he's trying to achieve within the Cosmere, but other characters do as well. Other shards do as well.
Yeah, there are even sword hoppers.
You say sword hoppers?
Yeah, there's a sword that hops worlds.
Okay. You mean there's a sword that's a world hopper?
Yeah, sword
the sword's
hopper.
not hopping to another sword.
Swirled hopper. Look, it's getting late.
Oh man. Yeah, so I don't know. It's very interesting to me to know that whenever you're reading, like in Mistborn, you're reading about the bad guy is what they know of as God in their world is a tyrant basically, and knowing that this is the Cosmere, you're like, okay, this is probably has something to do with a shard.
Speaking of just Mistborn, if you just the story for along the three, not just, the first book is all obviously, each book has almost got its own like separate story, but they're all a trilogy, so they all follow the same characters in the same story.
Right.
Read the trilogy; they fit together so beautifully, and it has such a good ending with so many wild twists.
Yeah.
So if you haven't read Mistborn, go give that a read.
It kind of tees up a little bit of the chronology of the Cosmere too, because at the point in one of the Stormlight books where a character from that world is talking to Hoyd, and so it's obvious that it's after the events of the first trilogy at the least, but yeah, so it's interesting. It's just there is a MCU level world being written,
but done way cooler than the MCU because
and it is going on right now, and it's just amazing that the person that is kind of the architect for that is still creating it. To me it's a lot like being alive when Tolkien was writing.
Not only just creating it, but like
Robert Jordan or whatever. He's
not only still creating it. It's like he's kind of like just now really starting to get into the story of the Cosmere.
Right.
Like I said, he's had these like tidbits thrown in there, but now he's really, especially with like Rhythm of War, even from what I just read, he's really starting to branch the Cosmere into there.
I think the fifth book. So the way the Stormlight Archive series, it's going to be a 10-book series. The first 5 books, so he just released the 4th book. The 5th book, after the 5th book, there's going to be a big time jump. The next 5 books are going to be a separate series. It's the same world and maybe some of the same characters, but it's going to be a big time jump. And I think it's going to jump into the space age of the Stormlight.
It's probably very similar to how Mistborn's doing it with the different eras.
So I think the ending of book 5 of Stormlight is going to be a huge shift in the Cosmere. I think it's going to be a big cliffhanger.
Gosh, I can't. Oh
and I think maybe just for a second, we might talk about Hoyd for the theory episode, so let's stay away from him a little bit if we can. But what do you think where do you think the Stormlight Archive is going? Like, where do you think it's going to end? Our characters are going to end book 5.
Oh man,
I
don't even know. I
like thinking about, you got Odium, you got cultivation, you've got.
Not only that, I'm scared for my characters, man. I'm scared for Dalinar and Khaled. I feel like no one's safe.
Who do you think dies? Because I think it's hard for me to believe that nobody dies book 5. No major characters.
What is a slight theory of mine, which I don't know. It literally has like no basis in anything other than I think it'd be interesting, or if it's, I don't even know if it's possible.
Yeah.
I could see Dalinar somehow becoming the vessel for honor.
Okay, like reforming the shards somehow.
I don't even know if that's possible or if that whatever. I just was thinking about that today. Is like I could definitely see that happening, but I don't know if it ever like that might just be more of like I just think it'd be kind of cool. But
in Oathbringer, I won't say what's happening whenever Dalinar says this, but in Oathbringer, Dalinar says at a really epic point in the book, "I am unity."
Yes,
and I think it was capitalized.
See, yes.
And when words are capitalized like that in the Cosmere,
pay attention.
Pay attention, because it's usually
a name,
or it's like a proper, it's a proper name for some type of magic or something like that. So when I read that, I was like, is Dalinar going to become a vessel for something? We do know that it's possible. I won't say which shards, but we do know that it's possible. If two shards are shattered, that they can actually come into harmony and be turned into one shard, right?
Yes.
Or be held at the same time.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure they're not. I remember hearing this today. They're not
one
combined.
shard.
They're not one shard. They're just one person holding two shards.
Ouch! That sounds dangerous.
It does sound dangerous, but if anyone can do it, it's the character that's doing it.
So yeah. So that made me wonder.
I'm pretty sure that's like confirmed by Brandon Sanderson.
That made me wonder, and that would be a big. That made me wonder if Dalinar might become the holder of 3 shards, which would be crazy if you think about the 3 shards he could be holding.
That is also true.
That'd be like a huge twist.
He could. I'm sitting here thinking that he could become the vessel of honor. He could very well become the vessel of odium as a sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, remember, slight spoilers in Oathbringer. They're trying to get. They're told that if they can get the shard of Odium, if they can get Odium to agree to a contest of champions, they might be able to beat him. Because it's like, how do you beat a god that just is bent on your destruction, that is so far above you, could destroy you with the blink of an eye if they wanted to? And so they're like, we got to try to. But then Odium's decide what they don't realize is Odium is preparing for that contest of champions, and he wants Dalinar to be the champion. And that doesn't quite go the way he thinks it will in Oathbringer, but I still wonder if that's kind of a foreshadowing for something that may happen with Dalinar's character. Like you said, like a sacrifice, or in order to end the war with Odium, or something like that. So there's definitely more talked about. I don't want you to think there's any resolution, but there's definitely more talked about that in Rhythm of War. So
yeah, we'll definitely be doing when I finish Rhythm of War, we're gonna have a full episode on that, on theories after I finish it.
I just wonder, when everything goes space age, I just wonder, there's gonna be battles, there's gonna be wars between planets, and so where are the lines going to be drawn? Like, what are the alliances going to be? I'm wondering. Right. Does Roshar ally with Scadrial? Does Roshar ally with different? Do Roshar and Scadrial fight? Are they like enemies?
Or that even happen? Or will what ends up happening is all the people of the worlds gather together and fight back against the shards?
Huh. That'd be interesting.
Almost like another shattering.
But how? Yeah, that's the question they got to figure out. Which, that's something we haven't talked about. But there's a theory I have about the shattering. I think there was actually, maybe some of this is confirmed, so it's not completely my theory. But there's something called the Dawn Shards. You learn that the Dawn Shards aren't like, it's not like a big sword or something like that. It's some kind of command word, or not command word, but like a force that a person can become the bearer of this force. And supposedly, I think those Dawn Shards may have been what was used to kill Adonal. That may have been what was used to create everything, but like may have been what was used by Adonalsium to create everything, and then was turned on him and used to kill him.
I wonder if...
And so if we start to see Dawn Shards getting picked up, then that could be something that's used...
I wonder
against
too
a shard,
if
or
the end of the Cosmere is almost reforming Adonalsium. I wonder if that's even possible. to join the shard. If you can break
Is it
them and join
possible?
them.
Yeah. Is it possible? Would it even be desirable?
Would it be? Yeah, that's true. Would it be desirable?
What would happen to the worlds that are dependent on those magic systems?
If you need to form all the shards, like, do you need a vessel for all the shards to form them into ad nauseam?
Right.
Or do they just become a? Oh my gosh.
Hoid will be ad nauseum.
If anyone did, it would be Hoid. I can see Hoid just being
theory right now. Hoid will be ad nauseum.
Hoid is ad nauseum. What if he was the vessel for ad nauseum?
But everybody seems from what I've read, he seemed to know these people before.
Yeah. I don't know. This is nonsense at this point.
All I know is Hoid talks to a dragon. He writes a letter to a dragon.
And the dragon talks back.
And the dragon writes back.
He doesn't even just talk to the dragon. He pretty much argues with the dragon.
He does. Because I think the dragon is like, I'm sitting this one out. I'm not getting involved in these shard battles.
I want to know where the dragon comes into play. That is because you have like humans, you have Parshendi, and you have like
dragons.
Then you're like dragons. It's like, hold up. We made a really big leap here.
I was reading about the planet where the shattering happened. It's called Yolan.
Mm-hmm. Which is the original.
And I think there were dragons there on that planet. Like,
I know that's it was the original birthplace of humans.
That's where the dragon comes from. That was another thing I was wondering about, which going around, but I read that, Honor says at the end of the Way of Kings, he says that he created the human race. And then, though, you find out there's humans on lots of planets. So is he talking about just the human race on Roshar? Is there something more to that?
Well, yeah, because even on Scadrial, preservation and ruin made the people on Scadrial.
Right. That's what I read as well. So it's like, what did he mean?
But then again, on Scadrial 2, there's two different type of people. There's like the people from
one shard and the other shard.
Well, no, there's like people from like Alondriel. Is that I can't remember?
Oh, the cities.
Yeah, I can't remember the cities. And you have that other
So there's the
Sazed's one of them.
Yeah,
that's a different type of human.
Right. So
I wonder if maybe like preservation and ruin made those people, and then other humans from the original birthplace somehow got. I don't know.
Yeah, he is a Terrarsman.
Yes.
Sazed is a Terrarsman, and then the other humans are.
And they're like physiologically different to an extent.
Yeah,
to an extent. Yeah, same with like even the human.
Well, you think about like there's humans on Roshar that looked a lot different. You have the humans that like the Thalans that have like the long.
But then you have like the generic humans.
Yeah, then you have the Shin that have like the big eyes, very pale skin. Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with some of the history of where humans came from and how they ended up on Roshar. Because I don't think they're.
It'll definitely be interesting to see what happens there. Yeah, like I wonder if like as far going to like Stormlight and Roshar, I wonder if like the Thalans and the other ones, Zest Sons on Velos hit one of them. I can't remember. The Shin. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they were like originally like also part of Roshar, just like the Parshendi, and then like the people like the Alethi are the ones that are from Braze
from a different planet or
Like I wonder if that's.
I think you're.
Because it almost seems like the
right.
Alethi are also very different psychologically than a lot of the other creatures, a lot of the other humans.
Yeah.
Air quotes there. So I wonder if like there are different subsets of humans. Some are meant to be on Roshar and some aren't.
Right.
Because the Shin and the Valens are like a different type. Like because the Alethi is kind of like when you hear an Alethi described, you're like, oh, that's human. That's like us. Maybe a little bit more tan. Maybe like I don't know. Downer is like gigantically huge buff.
Yeah.
But like then you have like Shin who like got the large eyes and they're pale white. You have the Thalen who have like the really long eyebrows. Like those are very distinctly different features than like normal humans. So I wonder if like they literally just are from completely different. Because we kind of right now we kind of put all the humans together. Like Shin and Thalen, they're all humans. There's different type of races of human. But what if they're almost like just from different planets?
Yeah. And
the ones that really came down and did the
void bringing?
Or like just the Alethi people and that type of sub.
Maybe, because they are more warlike people. you know. But that's part of that's Odium's influence.
Well, for sure.
But that's
But
part of the story.
Odium also has more influence on the Alethi, though.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting. Yeah, so that is kind of an intro to the Cosmere, what's going on behind the scenes, high level. But
part of this kind of turned into a really long Bridge of Theories episode. No,
it did
about it, but it was fun.
We could do theories on this one.
I love the Cosmere. I was just doing research on it today. It was so fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It is just. I just wish it was all done.
I know.
And so I could just read it all right now and know.
But I also don't have the time to read it all right now.
That's true. But yeah,
2 years. Give 2 years, and then it can all be done. I'll be happy.
There you go. 2 years will be the
fifth book.
The fifth book will be coming out. That will be blow my mind.
I'm excited for the fourth Wax and Wayne series.
Yeah, that's he's like.
I like the Wax and Wayne series.
Over halfway done with that, and that's going to be big. That last book in that series is going to be big.
Those are a lot smaller, but those are fun books. They're a lot more fun than they were series as far as like the first Mistborn. But the third book was getting a lot more heavy and start as far as things go, especially at the very end, which I won't spoil for you because I know you haven't.
Nope.
They're good books, but the magic in the second era is really the way he mixes the magic with the world.
Yeah,
is super cool.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, go pick up somewhere in the Cosmere.
Literally
anywhere. You could start with, Elantris is good. I really like it. It's the first published book of his, so I'd say maybe it's the roughest.
Yeah.
But it's still really good. And it's very interesting and unique in terms of like magic systems, and the storyline and everything is definitely a different thing than what you would be used to reading from fantasy.
If you want to know a good one that's easy to read because it's only one,
Warbreaker. Yeah, that's one I really want to read.
I liked Warbreaker. I've read Warbreaker twice now. I haven't read Mistborn twice. Warbreaker is a very fun one. And the magic in Warbreaker is also really cool and really interesting.
There's a sword that talks.
Yes,
so, what more do you need to know?
Exactly.
It wants to destroy evil. It literally
Plus
always
Vasher.
wants
Vasher
to
is a
destroy
cool
evil.
character.
Vasher, okay.
Gosh, wait till you learn. Do you even know anything about Vasher?
The only thing I know about him is from what I know from Stormlight, because he world hops to Stormlight.
Oh man, just there's actually like a weird. There's a lot more to him than what you just think.
Yeah.
Even reading through Warbreaker until you get like the last chapter and you're like, whoa, Brandon, you're gonna dump all this on me. That's why there needs to be a second Warbreaker, because he dumps a lot of information on you in the last like 2 chapters.
Well, that's the thing. Like he has a whole schedule, and like Warbreaker 2's on there, Elantris 2's on there.
I need to reread Elantris.
Yeah,
that was a more
totally
political one.
Planning on it. It's just he's got to get there. But
so it does kind of not think about it too. Like as far as like what you want to read, like Elantris is definitely a little bit more political of a book.
Yeah, political.
Warbreaker is more of like a kind of almost like you're kind of like slightly generic fantasy, but almost like a weird take on the rescuing the princess.
Okay.
Mistborn is you're just literally a heist book,
right?
And like, what do you like? Go.
Yeah. Do you like? If you like
Stormlight's your generic.
If you like Ocean's 11, a fantasy version of like Ocean's 11, where the heist plan is to kill an evil god, then start with Mistborn.
Anyway, this has been Bridge of 2. Bridge of 2.
We're like, what do we say next?
Never get it right. All right, this has been Bridge of 2.
A far, far away bridge.
Are they working?
I love that we do this every single time, but we always talk. We usually talk, and just for some reason this time we're just making like Robin Williams noises. Like Mork and Mindy. Okay.